Welcome to another edition of Sports Wrap Daily here on a Thursday. I am Darrell Harris, your host today. If you watched yesterday at the very end of the show, I alluded to a special episode tomorrow. Tomorrow is today. Our guest is here, and I'd like to introduce you all to Yaron Weitzman. He is an author of a book that we are going to deep dive today. It's called A Hollywood Ending: The Dreams and Drama of the LeBron Lakers.
Got it right here. Look at this. I even took out a copy. Thank you for having me.
100%. And Yaron, off the top as well, I'm sure I didn't run through everything on your title, so you can let us know a little bit more about yourself and what you do and where to find your work.
Sure. I mean, NBA writer, we can go summary, just, top line summary. I'm an NBA writer. You can find me, different places on the internet, wherever you get social media. Been covering the league for about 10 years. Though I joke, my career highlight, I was actually one of my first jobs in sports was at ESPN Radio New York. And I might
know it.
Yes. You got it?
The Cheese It guy?
The Cheese Doodles for Stephen A. Yeah.
Doodle.
Stephen A. likes his cheese doodles, and I was an intern there. And when you're an intern in radio, your job is to often bring food, snacks for the hosts. Stephen A., very big on cheese doodles. And what I learned is that cheese doodles are not so easy to find. Like, they're not like a typical... Yeah,
never had a cheese doodle.
You never had. I don't love them either. A little soft. I'm not really into them. I like Cheetos I can go. They're a little more crunchy. But cheese doodles, not so much. But Stephen A. clearly disagreed.
We are a lot more alike than I knew as well, because I did read that, and similar. I live and breathe basketball, so this is going to be fun. Born and raised in LA as well, so this is right up my alley. I told my dad, I said, hey, if you got some questions that you want me to ask about the Lakers, now's the time. And let's start off with why you did this. I am aware that you also wrote. The title's escaping me, but rebuilding sort of the process in Philadelphia. You can share that one.
Tanking to the Top was the book, yeah. Tanking to the Top. Though I joke, we needed to rename it Tanking to the Second Round of the Playoffs for 5 straight years. But, it doesn't rhyme. The alliteration isn't quite as good. But yeah, I wrote about the, honestly, there are 2 books, there's a similarity to them, sort of the, that was about the process, sort of like the backroom dealings in the NBA, right? The way I kind of describe it is what's happening behind the scenes that we don't see, that impacts what's happening on the court that we do see. And I just felt like, I guess I'm answering a question in the Lakers book. I just felt like this merger, and I call it a merger because it feels like that, between the Lakers and LeBron, right? Like, you're really taking these 2 iconic brands and merging them under one roof. Felt like something that it was like begging to be looked at that way. And that's kind of what drew me to it.
That answers the why, which was coming right away. Yeah. Now, I know that this wasn't an easy process. I actually like how you established at the front. I don't know if it's like this in your other book as well, but you said, hey, this is hundreds and maybe might have been thousands. This is hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of research, of interviews, of podcast appearances. I won't bother attributing every little thing I'm going to include in this book, but off the bat, I'm telling you that this is verified, this is vetted. I went through multiple sources. How were you able to accomplish that?
Yeah, so I'll give you it. So I spent 3 years on this, spoke to about 300 people. I read like any Lakers article from like 2012 on, right? I read, and any player, and man, there are a lot of bad player podcasts out now, and I listened to all of them, right? Because Jared Dudley, I think, does like 30 a year, right? And you just go through all these Danny Green, all these guys, you just go through all that. And I watched every documentary and I read every book. So you do all that, and then so that's sort of the sources that are already out there. And I always joke that even without doing any original reporting, I feel like anyone, if you actually look at a topic and you dive that deeply into something and you it's like a puzzle and you're the only person looking at the puzzle, you'll put things together without even doing any original reporting. Just by looking at the picture holistically, you'll find interesting things. But then, of course, you make calls and meet people. So, speaking to, like I said, about 300 people connected to the Lakers, front office people, executives, agents, players, staffers, I'm naming random agents, friends of players, like coaches, like you keep going and going and going. And you just keep making the next call, and you start to find that, people have memories and thoughts, and you kind of collect from there.
And even with all of that, the team itself, LeBron himself aren't down to go on record and say, hey, attribute this to any, but they didn't want to participate.
Correct. So LeBron, they
chose not to
differently.
participate.
Correct. So LeBron, I describe it as a very polite thanks, but no thanks. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to participate. We're not going to do any fact checking. We just don't do that. Two reasons. One, he doesn't really do long form interviews anymore. I think his feeling, and I get it, is like, why give it to someone else when he could get a Netflix doc or whatever, right? Like, he's got cameras following him around already. I'm sure we'll have some version of a Last Dance somewhere.
He doesn't see the as much worth in outsourcing some of his
correct material. And he's like, again, listen, like there's journalistic reasons I did it, whatever, but like, yeah, he's on the cover of the book, right? Like, I'm making money off his name. That's the attempt of this. Like, there's other reasons to do it, but there's other reasons why a book is important and journalism and all that. But for sure, I'm making money off his name, so why should he help me with that, right?
And the Lakers themselves, there's a lawsuit in here.
A threatened lawsuit. One? So they threatened me with a lawsuit. So I'll go back. When I started this, so you reach out to people and you tell principals, you tell them you're doing this. And I got in touch with Jeanie Buss, Lakers owner. I met with her twice off the record. Kind of explained the book, explained what I was interested in, what I would want to do, why I thought it mattered. She didn't love the idea, but we were fine. And they weren't helping. We were doing a little off the record fact checking here and there. And I only talk about this, it's off the record. I wouldn't talk about it, but she's mentioned it in her own interviews, right? So I figure we're fair game. Like, I was transcribing an interview once and she's talking about, there's this guy writing a book and he told me this once. And
you're like, wait, okay. I know that guy.
Right, I guess that's not off the record there. Okay, I guess we're cool. Okay, so we do that. And the relationship, I keep forgetting to tell the story. It was so cordial that I live in New Rochelle, in a suburb outside of New York City. So New Rochelle is famous in pop culture for being the home of Dick Van Dyke and the Dick Van Dyke Show, which is before my time, but famous show. And when she found out I live in New Rochelle, she was very excited to the point where, like, there was like a 2-week stretch where I was going to pick up jogging. So I go jogging one time and Dick Van Dyke Way or street, whatever, is on my route. So I take a picture and send it to her and she responds all excited. So I kind of bring that up to kind of set the foundation of, like, this was not contentious at any point until
extinguished some of that. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was saying, until the June 2024 game 1 of the 2024 finals, the year the Celtics won. I'm there for Fox Sports covering the game, and I get an email, and it says from the desk of someone named Marty Singer, and I look him up, and he's a famous defamation lawyer, and he says he's representing the Lakers. And so from there, I'm like, okay, I guess informal communications cut off, and then we send them fact checking about a year later. And they respond. That's when they respond to the letter, basically saying, this is all egregious and defamatory and false. And make no mistake about it, lots of people, I'm paraphrasing, but lots of people threaten to sue, don't have the means of ability. We have both, and we will. The thing is, like, it'd be one thing, but then you go through their responses, and some of them just are factually inaccurate. Like things like, we didn't hire Ty Lue because he was. One reason is because he was coming off an injury, a health scare, and had only partially coached the previous year. And it's like, no, actually, that was 2 years earlier, and he missed 8 games, returned for the playoffs. Like things like that, where just the responses don't check out. So
you want to step on it, but sorry, it's legit. And
yeah, exactly. And it just undercuts anything else they're saying. Because if we're having like stuff like that, response after response, stuff like that.
As willing and able as you are to sue, I'm willing and able to stand by what I have in this book.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. It's like, yeah, it's scary, but and again, we verify, fact check, all this stuff. But I stood by it, felt comfortable with all of it. So, yeah.
I'm glad that we got to start off with some of the behind the scenes of the formation and the process to get it out. You guys stay right with us. We're going to take a quick break and come back with Yaron and get into some of the text. I got a lot of questions about your thoughts and what I felt as I read this. I was moved to tears randomly. So we got to get into this when we come right back here on Sports Rap Daily. And we're back. Thank you for staying with us here on Sports Rap Daily. You were watching myself, Darrell Harris, along with Yaron Weitzman, author of A Hollywood Ending, The Dreams and Drama of the LeBron Lakers. Now, we just talked about how the team tried to block it. We talked about how much effort you put into sourcing and getting all this information. Now, I felt like you really summarized a decade and a half very efficiently in this book. And it's crazy because we live it. So you get stuck in these cycles. It's the, it's the LeVar Ball cycle. It's, now it's the Magic Rob cycle. Now it's the, Kobe's final stretch where we're playing for nothing except watching Kobe, to LeBron, to the bubble, to Luka. And it bounced around. I also feel like Jeanie Buss is as much the protagonist of this story as LeBron is.
Yeah, I would say she's a big part. Yeah, it's like, and the fact, I squeezed in a paragraph. The sale closed. I was able to squeeze in a paragraph on it, but really I couldn't dive into it.
Way to go.
Correct. Yes, I got in there. But the point being that, this does feel like I basically, and I feel good about it, right? Cover the Jeanie Buss era, right? Whatever that was for the Lakers and what that means. And I did feel like a big part of, I'm glad you picked up on that. To me, you couldn't tell a story of LeBron coming to the Lakers and what that meant to them without telling the story of what that meant to Jeanie and why that was so important to her and the Buss family. To me, it's all connected, right? The fact that you have Jerry Buss built this team and the idea of stars, and they were in this period of darkness, and Jeanie brings them out of it. These things are all connected, so I agree.
I feel like there were repeated missed opportunities for this Lakers team to find an extended stretch of success. I feel like you point to the Luke Walton era, and there was momentum. I talked to so many people. I said, "Yo, that Christmas game, 2018, I believe, I suppose,
yeah.
where LeBron and the youngins took KD, Steph, and all those guys on and said, "Hey, here's 20." And LeBron got hurt that game.
Rondo also, right? Rondo also went down, yeah.
Totally forgot about that. And I read that and I was like, he sure did.
Yeah.
And by the time that, they tried to put that boat back up right, it was like, now I'm thinking elsewhere. Now I'm calling AD, now I'm doing anything like that. From just the team performance element, do you think that it was worth it because they got 2020 in the grand scheme of things, or because it's hard to win in this league?
So I'm glad you asked this. So the way I've been summarizing it is it was a success, but right. So because like you said, they got a title, so you have to say it was a success because they got a title. And the but is, if I told you in 2018 you would get 8, maybe we'll see more, but let's say 8 seasons at least of LeBron in LA, mostly healthy. I think you'd expect more. Maybe not titles. Okay, titles are hard, but more years of feeling like legitimately in the mix, and more than one finals appearance, and not as many ups and downs, right? And it's been bumpy. So I completely agree. To me, the big mistake, it's the year after, right? So everyone thinks that when you think of COVID and you think of the COVID impacted season, you think of the bubble. But if you go back, that season was basically 70% completed, right? And then they go to the bubble. And the bubble, it's obviously it's a crazy thing to look back on.
If you ask me, LeBron would have won MVP that year.
Right.
If you ask me, with that final month of media and everything, and he led the league in assists and first or second, top of the West. And if you ask me,
he was playing great. Playing great. And then they go to the bubble, and the bubble, for all the craziness, the basketball there is clean and fantastic. It was some of the best basketball you've ever seen. Statistically, the shooting numbers are through the roof because everyone's rested. There's no fan, just everyone's healthy, all that stuff. Then the real year that was impacted was the next one, right? So then the Lakers have 71 days after their championship win between the win and the start of the next season. And the start of the next season that's the one where it's a bleep show, where it's everyone remembers health and safety protocols, guys in and out for 2 weeks. Some arenas.
When you mentioned how many games folks were missing, I remember fantasy basketball seasons that year.
It's wild.
It was a mess.
It's wild. That's the COVID impacted year, right? So you have fans. Some arenas have fans, some don't. Traveling's weird. Just swabbing every morning. No one knows what's going on. We're just packing in because we have to.
Yeah, somebody's nephew caught it, and now I can't play for a week.
Correct. So the Lakers get off to a strong start that year, and they kind of fall off. They go up 2-1 in the Suns in the first round. AD and LeBron both go down. They lose. So it's easy in hindsight to think this, but the mistake was having any sort of an emotional reaction or overreacting to that loss, where it should have been, you know what, this was crazy. We won the title, 71 days between. Like, we had no shot. Let's just run it back. Keep Caruso, keep Caldwell Pope, tweak along the edges, not have any major reactions.
Right.
And instead, both factions, Rob Pelinka is in the front office, is talking about they need another star, a third star. We need to compete with the big three Nets. And LeBron's huddling up with Anthony Davis and Jared Dudley trying to find a third star. And they go through Bradley Beal, DeMar DeRozan, who's the other one? Damian Lillard. For whatever reason, they don't work.
I was bummed about DeMar. DeMar sounded like he was ready.
He was, right? And it ends up being, they don't work for various salary cap reasons or trade reasons, whatever. And Russell Westbrook ends up being the guy that LeBron wants. And LeBron makes contact with Westbrook. Westbrook makes contact with his agent, says, get me out of here. Westbrook's agent and the Lakers start talking. The Lakers were not opposed to it. They were fine in it. And we make the Westbrook trade, and that just becomes a disaster. But it's like, again, why did we make the Westbrook trade? That was such an overreaction to where it should have been. Like I said, these were a crazy 18 months we've had. This year, losing in the first round, the year after winning the bubble title, like that's fine. I think there was a stat, like none of the Final Four teams made it out of the first round next year. Like Boston, Miami, a bunch of these teams got knocked out early. Yeah. And that's what sort of set things off.
I also learned a lot about Rob Pelinka. He's like this shrewd operator, I suppose. For one, played in the Fab Five, and that's just like a coincidental thing. Yeah. Essentially, played with them and becomes an agent, becomes a independent, a very respected, intellectual person, and now kind of has the keys. And I've made the correlation to selling that Jeanie has. And after this, we'll have to take a quick break. I equate Jeanie selling the team to selling grandma's house, in a familial sense. And the best thing that you can hope for is that you sell it to somebody who's worth it, or, a good family, or somebody who's going to treat it right. They're going to water the grass. They're going to do things like that. It sounds like, she already had trust for Rob. Rob was ready for that position when the position came. LeBron and the Lakers found each other. Now they've found Luka, and now you also have Mark Walters, who's winning championships across the freeway. So I feel like there's a little bit of that peace of mind she has now to say, all right, I can sit back and be the governor of the team. And I want to keep winning, but I don't feel like I'm at the stake right now on whether or not this team, wins or loses. How do you feel about that?
My take, I agree. My take on the sale, I have a little different take on the sale. I agree with the grandma's house, but that's where I would go. Let me
hear it. I want to hear it.
Yeah, so on the I think that's the interesting part, because that's where I think is the key. So it is like selling grandma's house. And the thing is, Jeanie has always talked about, we'll keep your metaphor, right? She's always talked about the importance of keeping grandma's house in the family and how important it was to grandma to keeping the house in the family. And that's one of the reasons, when she fired her brother and, I want to keep the team. They make a Hulu documentary. It's called Legacy, right? It's all about the legacy of Dr. Jerry Buss and keeping that in the team. And we haven't learned yet, and she doesn't owe it to us, but what changed where she decided that no longer needs to be the case. The Lakers do not have to be in the Buss family. They do not have to belong to the Buss family. They could belong to someone else, whether you're governor or not. It's different, right? The Lakers don't have to belong to the Buss family. And everyone says, well, you can't say no to the $10 billion value. Like $10 billion, you can't say no. I get it. Jeanie has no kids. She was making, she has money. They were making money. Generational wealth. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm not even making a joke. Maybe there's a nephew she wants to take care of. I don't know, right? But she was always a swing vote. The way it's built is there are 6 children, 2 younger ones, 4 older ones. The 2 younger ones never wanted to sell. The idea being that they would eventually inherit the team. Of the 4 older ones with the original mom, Jimmy, Johnny, Janie, they always wanted to sell. Mostly for financial reasons, Jimmy and Johnny especially. And Jimmy, I have this in the book, that he was in debt at different points. He needed the money. Jeanie was always a swing vote. Jeanie never wanted to sell. Something changed now, making her feel like that it was okay to sell. She felt comfortable selling. And that's why I love the grandma's house analogy, metaphor, because I think that's exactly what it is. And I just am confused why we're suddenly now comfortable in selling grandma's house.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. It's very interesting. One more quick break, and then we're going to wrap up with some more thoughts from Yaron on this book. It's available now everywhere, yeah?
Yeah, everywhere.
Everywhere, wherever you prefer, physical, digital, in the store, on your phone, y'all go find it. It's I had fun with it, but we got some more questions, some more talks. We got to talk about we haven't mentioned Kobe, I don't believe, so far in this recording, so we're going to do that on the other side of this break here on Sports Rap Daily. Welcome back to Sports Rap Daily with myself, Darrell Harris. Today, interviewing Yaron Weitzman, author of A Hollywood Ending, The Dreams and Drama of the LeBron Lakers. The LeBron Lakers. Because there's so many, that was such a unique thing. I was born and raised in LA. I was always a LeBron fan, though. So every single day at middle school, elementary, on the bus, at practices, everybody, Kobe and LeBron, Kobe and LeBron,
I was
Kobe
say,
and
it's
LeBron.
different being a LeBron fan in LA before, especially before he came there. You would stand out from that.
I've got a picture of my grad night, senior year of high school, with the Navy Cavs jersey, and they just went up 2-1. This was after like the Dellavedova game, and I'm feeling good. Man, I was just driving either he was with me or I was going to pick him up, but it was just a morning drive, and I was powering through the book before trying to settle down a date to talk about it. And you get into the helicopter crash, January 2020. Heavy time in my life. My grandmother had just passed a couple weeks prior, and Kobe actually passed away on my dad's birthday. I mentioned how big of a fan.
Yeah,
not even a fan. Don't talk about Michael if you're not going to talk about Kobe to my dad. He doesn't want to hear it. I'm driving down the 15. I'm passing the strip corridor, and just the imagery popped up because you're talking about the LeBron tossed the script to the side. And
yeah, of course.
I'll forget that. Let's just talk about it and all of that stuff. And dude, it just came out of me, man.
I get it.
Talk about putting that portion of the book together because it's a chapter that you cannot escape or avoid. And I don't know, it didn't dominate like a wild segment of the reading, but oh man, well done, I will say.
First of all, thank you. Truly, it means a lot. Second of all, so while putting that together, two Kobe things got me emotional for different reasons because you end up like watching a lot of clips and replaying them. So Kobe's final game to me is like it's like one of the best, chill invoking random 12-minute YouTube videos you can put on. You know what I mean? Like that fourth quarter, not even the final game, just that fourth quarter when you see like these A-list of A-list guys is giddy like children on the sidelines because Kobe's doing this insane thing. It was just ridiculous, right? And then the one where I cry while reporting, while researching, like putting things together. It's when Beyonce sings at his memorial, and watching that. But so the Kobe, when we bring up Kobe and LeBron, right? So to me, this is such a fascinating thing, and I think it's still kind of hangs over everything, right? So to understand, you'll know this, but I'll go over it. Like they were complete opposites in so many ways. So on the court, Kobe is the Kobe guy, right? Shoot over four guys, right? LeBron's past the open guy. Like last shot, it doesn't matter. It's an open guy in the corner, he's gonna pass to it. That goes back years. I can remember like first take segments asking like, should LeBron a shot or pass, right? Kobe like
Haslam shoot the game,
right? Exactly. Where Kobe wouldn't make that pass. He's shooting it. Kobe wouldn't be friends with people like on other team stars. LeBron obviously is. Kobe had all his off-court interests, but those were for after basketball, not during. LeBron did it during. So Kobe, and this is not my opinion, is talking to people around him and LeBron. Kobe didn't really understand LeBron. So you have that. And then you have the fact that there's sort of the marketing machine that surrounds all this is sort of pitting them against each other, that Kobe's the guy and LeBron's coming after him. And I mean, they're the dolls, whatever, the Nike dolls, whatever.
The puppets. Yeah.
The puppets, excuse me. Yeah. The puppets. And then it becomes a thing where like LA fans, there's a fandom part of this, where then LA fans or Lakers fans, or LA fans, I should get Kobe fans, are so aggressive in their Kobe defense, and it's like defending the Mamba mentality. And not only that, but then you're saying like the LeBron approach to all this is almost incorrect, right? And then you drop this guy all of a sudden, you're supposed to welcome him in as the savior. And I really think that was funky for a lot of them. I mean, we saw some murals defaced when LeBron signed in LA. And the relationship between the two of them was also a little iffy. Kobe, again, didn't believe in being friends with opponents, so he wasn't so friendly with LeBron. And then I have a thing in the book, like an interesting moment in the 2008 Redeem team. Where
the Olympic run together as teammates. Yeah, they're like, LeBron tells them, hey, Kobe, you got to do some of this, bro.
Correct, exactly. The team's going, they're in Vegas training, and the team goes down after breakfast, like to train, and Kobe's finished his workout like by himself, and LeBron pulls him aside later and says, like, we need you, like you got to be part of the team. And so that they won a gold medal, it forged a bond. Like they weren't close, but you win together in the trenches, it forges a bond. And then, it's on the list of why it's tragic that Kobe left early. This is lowest on the list. But like people...
But yes, right after he passed him, correct?
Right. And then people... Yeah, he does, right. And then people close to LeBron and Kobe believe and say that the relationship was really just starting to form, and that they think that if Kobe was still here, being in LA, understanding all this, Kobe was very... he was very defensive of LeBron and like was telling Bill Plaschke and quoting in LA Times saying to Lakers fans, no, he's an all-time great. Welcome him. And there are people around LeBron think the relationship would have been different and kind of would have kept growing had Kobe still been here.
Yeah, no, it's there's a lot in this book, and we're nearing the end here, but you now have this Luka chapter where, just in terms of how the team's even playing right now, where the book ends is that, the Anthony Davis bombshell trade happens. Here comes Luka. And one of my best friends is Dallas everything. And I feel so guilty for how he feels. And I'm like, yo, man, hey, man, it's all right if you get the Luka jersey, if you get the Lakers, the purple and gold 77. Just do it. Just see how it makes you feel. You might feel better. I think that's my last thing, is that the reader should form their own opinion, but I don't think that you painted LeBron to be the person that came into the Lakers land and tried to make it all about him. Some people might, and that's, you wouldn't be totally off base if you said that. But also, this guy's got lofty goals and he's not afraid to go for them, which you said it combines activism, ownership.
Yep.
His own personal greatness, parenthood.
Yep.
All of these things layered on top of what he's doing. And then that just shows how, this is going to be tricky. This is a tricky thing. Yaron, this was very fun. We're going to invite you back on to just talk some hoops again sometime. How does that sound?
Anytime. I love it. This was great. Thank you
so much. All right. That does it for us here on Sports Rap Daily. Yaron Weitzman. That was a Hollywood ending, the dreams and drama of the LeBron Lakers, boiled down to 30 minutes. If you go get it, spend some more time with it. And we'll be back here on Sports Rap Daily again tomorrow, finishing the week. Yaron, you enjoy the rest of your night, brother.
Thank you. You too.
See you all tomorrow.